President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation last night regarding the recent allegations leveled against political and South African police service leadership by the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. Ramaphosa has established a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate the allegations, and Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has also been placed on special leave. Now, in a media briefing last Sunday, Mkhwanazi made startling allegations against Mchunu, his close associate Brown Mogotsi, and Deputy National Police Commissioner for Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya. And he accused the officials of ties to crime syndicates and alleged interference in police operations, including the disbanding of a task team investigating political killings. Now, to help us discuss last night's address, we joined virtually now by security expert from the Institute of Security Studies, Willem Els, and the Executive Secretary of the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, that's Casac, Lawson Naidoo. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you. Thanks so much for joining us here on Morning Live this morning. Let me start by just getting your thoughts on the President's address last night, just in terms of what he announced, the establishment of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, also placing on special leave the Minister of Police. What are your thoughts on that, and do you believe that the parameters are wide enough, or has he missed a step here? Let me start with you, Willem.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our guests. Yeah, thank you. It was sort of a mixed bag that we received yesterday. You know, we've been slapped with just another commission of inquiry. You know, we don't have a good history with these type of commissions, especially when it comes to the implementation and adherence to some of the recommendations. So that is. But that being said, we also saw that there was some urgency with the president in the way that he suspended the minister, but also the appointment of the acting minister. So we hope that that will help to stabilize the ship there. But also, if you're looking at the scope, we saw that the scope was wide-ranging. But maybe of concern is that it seems that it limited the scope when it comes to the political level of investigations, where he limited that to basically the officials that are involved with law enforcement in that realm. There might be others that are also implicated, and we would like to see if they are also going to be scrutinized.
Lawson?
Good morning, Sakina. Thank you. Look, I think I welcome the announcement by the President last night establishing a Judicial Commission of Inquiry. It was absolutely critical that whatever inquiry was established was going to be independent, and I think this one certainly is. It's obviously the correct call to place the minister on special leave. The minister could not, preside over the Ministry of Police while this investigation was underway, so that's the correct decision. The only concern that I would have, Sakina, is in terms of the timeframes. Whilst the president did indicate that interim reports would be submitted within 3 and 6 months, we don't know the full lifespan of the commission, how long it's expected to take. I think the terms of reference as enunciated by the president last night are fairly broad, and I think there needs to be a phased approach to the inquiry by Justice Nhlanhla and his team. And the critical issue, the urgent issue is to investigate the veracity of the allegations that were made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi last Sunday. That needs to be done as a matter of urgency and should certainly be done inside of 3 months. But of course, we're going to have to wait and see what the actual terms of reference of the Commission of Inquiry are when they are formally gazetted by the President.
And Lawson, just staying with matters in terms of the placing on leave of the police minister. So questions arising around that as to what about others who've been directly implicated in that briefing by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, like the Deputy Police Commissioner, National, why the President would not have veered into that domain?
Well, I think that's clearly a policing matter. That's a matter that's going to be established in terms of investigating the allegations that Mkhwanazi has made. And the president was quite specific in terms of saying that the commission will be able to recommend appropriate action, including suspension and removal from office of people who are found to have been implicated.
Willem, coming to you with regard to these allegations that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi make, what do you read into these allegations when it comes to security and policing in South Africa, given that there is already a crisis of confidence within the law enforcement space in South Africa?
Yeah, that's been a serious concern for some time. If you look at the latest statistics, that around about 27% of the public has got confidence and trust the police. And we believe that this revelations by General Mkhwanazi even caused that to go down. So now it's time that we start to restore that trust and work on that. And I think Judge, on your previous question about the Lieutenant General Sibiya, he's been appointed by the National Commissioner at an operational level. So we would like to see that maybe the National Commissioner follows suit, and also ask him to step aside in order to promote good policing and also the investigation that is ongoing now.
And when we look at that press briefing by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, Willem, some people have questioned this, asking whether it was insubordination to come out the way in which he did, or is this about necessary whistleblowing in this instance, where it seems as though there may be political and other interference within police work?
Yes, there's been a lot of comment about that, but given the track record and the posture of General Mkhwanazi, we would believe that he would have followed all the due processes, and also in his press conference, he noted that he was summoned to Pretoria by the minister. He was put in a room with the National Commissioner as well as with General Sibiya, and he told him to make peace. So that is just an indication to us that prior to this press conference, that it has been escalated all the way to the minister, and the minister bore knowledge of this whole situation. So we believe that all due process should have been followed by the general, and a lot of whistleblowers ended up dead. So, but maybe it is the safest route for the general to take, because now it's in the open, and also it serves, because he's now a whistleblower. There's other legislation that also applies here, but also, as the National Commission indicated, they upped his security and he's got more protected than he would have been if he did not follow this route.
Lawson, you touched on the terms of reference when they are finally gazetted that will give us the proper scope of investigation for this Judicial Commission of Inquiry. But from what we have heard so far, what does this say about criminals with political connections especially, and given the state of our country when it comes to crime that seems to be rampant, and many people who live in these crime-ridden areas will tell you it seems as though the police are not interested in dealing with it?
Well, Sakina, as Willem has said, public trust in the SAPS is very low. Public trust, I think, in the law enforcement agencies across the board is pretty low, and that impacts on the safety and security of people within South Africa. It has an impact on the rule of law within South Africa. But we've known for a very long time that there's been external influence, whether by politicians or others, within these law enforcement agencies. We go back to the time of Jackie Salibi as the National Commissioner of Police, the fact that he was convicted of corruption and sentenced to a term in prison. These allegations have been around for a long time. What Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi has done is to actually bring it out into the open and put some information to back it up on the table. Now, what this Commission of Inquiry has to do is to verify those allegations, the correctness or otherwise of those allegations, and then recommend the appropriate action. That's going to be the beginning of a process of cleaning up SAPS and the security agencies within South Africa. And that's something that seems to be, part of the mandate of this commission, that they need to look at, whether there are policy gaps as to whether there are legislative gaps and others, and make recommendations thereon.
And I was going to ask about that, Willem, because it's all good and well to establish a judicial commission of inquiry, but how does that address the systemic issues within SAPS that clearly, in certain instances, are leading to massive failures?
Yeah, I think as Lawson said, it's the start of the process, and from now on, it will be dictated by of course, the conduct of the commission. Is the commission going to really go deep? Are they going to scrutinize everything? Also, the interim reports will also give an indication and will also create that perception by the public if it is free and fair, and if it is really digging deep enough in order to solve the problems. So what will happen? The findings of the commission, there will be recommendations, and of course, then it will come to the implementation, and the way and also the manner in which it's going to be implemented will dictate whether there will be a turnaround in the police service. We must just remember this has been coming, as Lawson said, it's been coming for a long time, and you're not going to turn this ship around in a few days. It's going to take some time, but they have to start somewhere. And very important, and I think we're at the right spot now, where we're starting at the head. The saying goes that the fish rots from the head, and if we can start there and start to clean out, it will go a long way in order to address all the gaps and the challenges within the police service, but also to restore trust of the policemen and women that are really putting their lives on the line every day in police management.
Lawson, already hearing some murmurs about people saying this is another waste of time, given that the recommendations from this commission will not be binding. Talk to us about your view on this particular matter.
Sakina, I think we're bound by the terms of the Commissions Act, which determines that commissions of inquiry do not have binding powers. They make recommendations. It is an exercise of the executive and the president in particular to institute a commission of inquiry that makes recommendations to the president. Although President Ramaphosa did say that the final report from this commission of inquiry will also be sent to the Chief Justice and the Speaker of Parliament. I think that's critical because all three arms of the state have been implicated in the revelations by Mkhwanazi. So that's critical. But, we may be critical of commissions of inquiry, but, somebody has got to come up with a better idea of how this can be investigated. The independence of the process is critical, and I think the people that have been appointed under the leadership of Justice Nhlanhla have impeccable credentials to ensure public trust in the process. Ultimately, it is the president and the law enforcement agencies that will have to take the decisions on the recommendations. And specifically when it comes to issues of further investigations and prosecutions, those are going to have to rely with the institutions that have been implicated themselves. It is the SAPS or arms of the law enforcement agencies that will have to investigate. It will be the NPA that will have to prosecute. So we're going to have to watch those matters very closely.
And of course, coming off the Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture, Lawson, I guess this is what people are basing these skepticisms on, saying that we're still waiting to see all of those recommendations implemented. So are we likely to see a similar sort of situation play out here?
Well, indeed, I think there's a level of frustration with the pace of implementation of the Zondo recommendations. But I think it's also fair to say that there has been some progress, albeit insufficient, certainly with regard to some of the recommendations of the Zondo Commission. But again, this is a question of political will to implement the necessary action to clear out the rot in the security agencies, law enforcement agencies, and to ensure that we rebuild public trust in our ability to tackle crime and corruption, crime that affects ordinary South Africans on an everyday basis. And whatever is happening at the leadership level of the SAPS clearly has an impact on the levels of policing on the ground and the safety of ordinary South Africans.
Just a final one to you, Willem. Professor Firoz Kachalia, the president announcing that his tenure at WITS comes to an end in August, and then he will then step into the role of acting police commissioner, not commissioner, minister rather. So that particular development, the fact that the minister has been placed on special leave, but already the announcement of someone coming in to take that position, your view on that?
Yeah, well, I think that demonstrated some urgency on the part of the presidency in order to address the situation. The person of Professor Kachalia, you know, he has served as the MEC in Gauteng, so he's got some background in policing and managing on a political level, but also his background in the Counter-Corruption Commission might serve to actually bring some good things towards his tenure as the acting minister. We experienced a lot of challenges where people have not been appointed when people have left or been suspended in the past on both political as well as on operational level. And I think this effort by the president to act swiftly is going to serve as well.
Well, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for your inputs this morning. That was Lawson Naidoo, Executive Secretary of the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, Casac, and Willem Els, a security expert from the Institute of Security Studies, reacting there to President Cyril Ramaphosa's address last night.